Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about the interview we did with Shanice Alicia, also known as Shanice Springer. We had a lot of insight from Shanice. She talked about a lot of juicy secrets with around being a content creator, the ugly truth about being an entrepreneur. She talked to us about money management, cash flow, and our audience had some juicy questions. And of course, you have to listen to the end because she gave us some really good insight. I was like, wow. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about Shanice. So she's a chemistry major. Well, she's not, but she was a chemistry major at Fort Valley State University. She graduated with a bachelor's in chemistry, and then she started working in a lab. So of course, we dived into kind of talking about her a little bit. She's a content creator, right? Digital content creator. And she has over 107,000 followers across all of her social media platforms. Okay. Now that's a big milestone. She started her YouTube journey while she was working. And she realized that she was making a lot of money. And so, she agreed to do this interview because she believes, it's important that people are aware of the different things that are associated with being an entrepreneur. She mentioned that, a lot of people have been glorifying entrepreneurship since 2019, but they don't talk about the ugly truth. And that's why we're here today. So Shanice, of course, she started off by telling us a little bit about herself. Yes, she was a chemistry major. And then what she did was very not typical of a social media content creator or digital content creator, rather. She created her own business. So she used the chemistry knowledge that she had from her undergraduate degree to create a hair care line for natural hair people. And so while she does do content creation, she also has her own business. Okay, so stick around for us to see how she incorporates that into her money-making journey. So you will need to use your money to get started. And so she was letting us know that, you need money to start. So you'll need to use your money unless you get grants or loans. And so it's very important to plan. So essentially, you don't want to just dive into entrepreneurship or to be a digital content creator without planning, especially if you're going to plan to leave your 9-to-5. You want to think about that and put things in place before you decide, hey, I'm going to do this full time. So she was very big on that. So she explained that she planned for a year before she became a full-time digital content creator. And so by this time, when the video was recorded, she was a content creator full-time for about 3 years. And so she's making it happen. She's making it work. And so we asked her about the pros and the cons of entrepreneurship, as well as being in a full-time job. And so for Shanice, because we know everybody's different, for Shanice, the pros of a full-time job included steady income, right? And actually, that's all she gave us, a steady income. So you know that if you go to work and you work your set number of hours, you have a check coming in. That's the pros. Wow, that's one pro. Okay. Now the cons, you have to clock in. You are not in charge of your schedule. Someone is in charge of you, and you don't have a lot of flexibility. So those are the cons that she listed that relates to being in a job full time, right? Now, as it relates to entrepreneurship, the pros that she noted for us is that, of course, she's able to make her own schedule. In 1 month, listen to this, in 1 month, you can make up to $100,000. What? But listen for the deets on that. Yes. So in 1 month, you can make up to $100,000. You can travel however you want. And of course, you have a more flexible schedule. Now, there are cons to being a full-time digital content creator, and or I would say it can extend to being a full-time entrepreneur. Right? While you can make $100K in 1 year or $100,000 in 1 year, you also can make less than that, right? You can have a dip in your revenue and have, she said, about $100. So can you imagine, anticipating $100K and only making $100? So from this, we learned that you have to be able to manage money. You have to be able to balance your money. And one of the things that we talk about in our book, A Toolkit for Raising Wealthy Kids, is that you need to be able to budget. So you need to budget. So even as an entrepreneur, especially as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to budget, because what happens when those dips come? You need to know how to manage that, right? And so as a digital content creator, you get paid once a month, right? And so you have to meet a threshold, especially on YouTube. You have to meet a threshold in order to get paid by a certain time, and you get paid once per month. And in order for you to monetize on YouTube, well, back in the day when Shanice was monetizing, she had to have 4,000 watch hours, right? And 100 subscribers. I think now it's a little bit different. You need, first to get to the ad scene, you need 3,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So a little bit of a difference there, right? Now, consistency. Actually, I stand corrected. I think now you need 3,000 watch hours and 500 subscribers to even be invited to the app scene. And then once you get that 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, then you are now being paid for your content, right? Now, consistency. That's a theme that Shanice was exhibiting in this interview. You have to be consistent. That's what gets you the money on YouTube, right? So basically, YouTube wants to see how many people are tuning in to your videos, how long they are watching the videos, how often they're returning, and how are you interacting with your audience. So you can't just, in Shanice's words, you can't just post a video and then go away. You have to interact, right? You have to interact with your audience. And then YouTube will amplify you. So, she suggested you could schedule 2 to 3 times per week, short content, and short form would be about 10 minutes or less. And then you get paid, right? And so you can also get paid, right? From, you get paid. You get small subscribers from brand deals and those type of things. So at this point, we were kind of asking her, well, how do you make money as a content creator? Right? So one, from YouTube, when you have the ad scene, as well as when you're not getting paid as a content creator, and you're doing your engagement, YouTube amplifies you. And so your content is being pushed out, right? Because you're being consistent. But you may also be paid by there's this little subscribers that you can get where people pay about $1 or so per month. I think they have this on Instagram as well, right? And then you can also do brand deals. And so brand deals are important for digital content creators because that's where you can really make a lot of money. But one thing you want to note here is Shanice said you want to make sure you stick to your niche. We always hear about niche. This is you zoning in on one type of audience that you are catering to. And that is how you will attract great brand deals because you have a brand for yourself. For her, she was a naturalist with her hair care. And so the brands that align with that, we're trying to align with Shanice. And so that is what you want to focus on. Niche down so you can get good brand deals. Also, you want to note that if you're serving everyone, you're serving no one. I learned that recently. So it's going to be very important that you niche down when it comes to digital content creating. Now, the end goal for Shanice is to be the face of a brand and doing commercials. Yay, let's give her a round of applause there. We think she will do that. Now, she doesn't want to be a content creator until she's 80, okay? Okay. Now, how do you get a pricing list? Like, let's say you are a digital content creator starting out. How do you even price, your charts so that the brands know what to pay you? So she does a percentage of the number of followers she has and how much she can charge. Use that to say how much she can charge the brands for, right? And so now, we know there are a lot of spam on social media. So when you are approached by brands, there are 3 things that Shanice suggests that you do. She calls it a 3-cross check, okay? And so this means you want to check your email that it's coming from, or check the email that it's coming from to make sure it's not coming from a Gmail, a Yahoo, or those type of things. That's a big sign that that's going to be spam. You also want to go to their website. That's number 2 to see, well, are there errors? Is it a real website? Is it a real company, right? And lastly, she goes to social media to see, well, is this a real page with real engagement, or is it just robots, because we know the robots are out here. AI is doing the thing. So those are the 3 things that she checks to make sure that, the brand deals that are coming in or the people who are contacting her for brand deals are real and that it's not spam. Now, let's talk a little bit about money and how this was one of the secrets she dropped. She said that Christmas and Thanksgiving are like Super Bowl times for content creators. So they get excited because this is when they can make a lot of money. And so at this time, so if you want to be a digital content creator, you want to make sure that when it's coming around to Thanksgiving and Christmas, that you are taking advantage of posting daily and looking out for brand deals. And this makes sense because everybody's selling something for Christmas and Thanksgiving. And so she was saying that this is the month that you can make, or these are the months that you can really easily make $100,000 to the point where you don't even have to post content if you get a good brand deal. You just need to get a good brand and then you're the face and bam, you get 100K, right? And so that's nice. That's really nice. And so now, we talked about with Shanice, that there are months when you can make $100,000, but then there are months when it's dry spell. She said for her, that's usually January to March. It's known as her dead season. So what do you do when you get a dead season? So she says when it's the money months, the November, the Super Bowl months, right? November, December, when you're making 100K, for some of us, it might not be that, right? For some of you, when you're starting out, it might not be 100K, even if it's 25K. You want to make sure you're budgeting. Here we go again with that word, budgeting, right? And so again, we talk about this in our toolkit for raising wealthy kid. This is really how you know where your money's going, what to do with it, and stay on par to have food to eat, okay? So budgeting is important. You need to have what she calls it her rainy day money, but you need to have an emergency fund. We talk about that a lot. You probably hear that quite a bit, especially if you watch our stuff. Emergency fund is very important. You never know what can happen. We even talked about this in Shanice's interview. She had an accident, and so she couldn't do content creation for a while. And so even if that's your full-time gig, you still have to have what ifs. There may be times when you can't record. And so, yeah, it's going to be very important that you save and you budget. Okay. Now, when did she decide to leave her 9-to-5? This was a good, neat way for her to tell us, well, how do we prepare to go into this full time? Well, when she said that she was able to make the same amount of money that she made in her current job at the time, as well as what she was making as a digital content creator. They were the same. And so she was like, wait a minute. I can put in less work over here as a digital content creator and make the same money as what I would make working for over X amount of hours, right? And so she said, well, this is an indication that I can do this content creation full time. And so what she did, here we go, consistency. She says what she decided to do was to save her money, secure brand deals, pay off debt, and bought a house. Got married, and then she decided to quit her job. She said she wanted to make sure when she left her job, she didn't have excess debt. Her debt to income ratio was very low so that, when she gets her money in, she doesn't have to worry about a lot of stuff going out. And that is smart, guys. So if you are interested or if you're planning to do digital content creating for a while, and you want to leave your full-time job, save, plan for it, and then dive in. Don't just I'm done with this job and quit, okay? Now, we talked about the ugly truth about being a digital content creator or just being a entrepreneur in general. But Shanice spoke to, she doesn't have a day off, guys. And that's often as an entrepreneur, you don't have a day off because you're always trying to make a sale. You're always trying to think about new ways, innovative ways to bring on new people. And so for digital content creators, every time I see Shanice, she has this camera, guys. So if you want to be a digital content creator, even on vacation, be prepared to have your camera everywhere you go to record content at every time, at any moment. She says she truly cannot relax. right? Because she's always thinking about the next move. When she clocks out of content creating, she has to now edit. So it's like a 24/7 job. Okay. You don't get a break sometimes. And if she does take a day off, she feels guilty. And the ugly truth, as being a digital content creator, people think they're entitled to her private life. Not because, you're a digital content creator doesn't mean you have to share everything. And so, she doesn't want to, and people think she should. And so that caused a lot of, a little bit of issues there. And so also she says you have to keep up with the times. And so for her, keeping up means buying equipment. She invests, and she buys a camera every year, and she goes up in tier every year because, of course, the content has to be good. But the good thing about that is she can write that off as a business expense. And that's also something that we really talked about. You have to really make this thing legit. So you have to file your LLC, right? You have to get your CPA. You have to do your taxes. You have to make sure that you set this thing up as a business and you're not just doing it as a hobby. Okay, set it up as a business so you can get those refunds, you can get those write-offs and those type of things. Okay, and so her main goal is to get her hair care line into big stores such as Target, Ulta, and those type of things to build her business. So this content creation is a legway into building her business. Now, one thing we did talk about that is very close to me is education, because a lot of time people think, I don't need to go and get an education or, go to college or whatever the case may be. And which and while you might not have to go to college, but we do suggest getting an education. And Shanice echoes this same thing. She's from a Caribbean background, and so she is big on education. Because if you think about it, she says, if the internet shuts down tomorrow, she can pick up her resume and go get a job because she has her chemistry degree. And maybe she needs a little bit of tune in with training, but after that, she's good. So you will need to have some type of education, and it doesn't stop at a formal degree. You want to always educate yourself. So like you're listening to this podcast and you might be reading a book. That is very important for you to educate yourself consistently. Guys, I can't stay too long, but let me just say this. One of the things that Shanice dropped on us that was like, what? So she says, if you're a digital content creator, here's a big secret. When you're making your content, you want to, like you read a paragraph, right? You want to start with the end result, right? You start with the end result. Then you do your body. So you start with your conclusion, your end result. Then you do the body. This is like if you're writing your paragraphs, you do the body of the essay, right? And then you sum it all up. So you draw audience in, or the clickbait would be your end result, right? And then you will wrap up with your conclusion. So this is good. So one more time, you have your what? You have your clickbait, which is the end result. You have the body, which is the process, and then your conclusion. And just a few more things. She may have some courses or mentorship coming up, but she's not ready. But whenever she is, she'll do that. So look out for that. You can catch her as Shanice Alicia on all social media platforms. To wrap up with her secrets that she has for us, the money lies in the numbers. Pay attention to your engagement. What video brings more views? Good content will show the numbers, right? Will show in the numbers. If the number shows that you do well with a certain niche, stay there, right? And use trending sounds and elaborate on that. Hashtags as well. Also, you want to network and be authentic. Authenticity will get you very, very far. Batch recording is helpful, right? As well as you can start early. So thank you, Shanice, and be sure to follow her as Shanice Alicia on all